Welcome back to the next to last or last interview of the first day of Streaming Media West 2018, depending on who shows up just shortly after this. I'm Tim Siglin, contributing editor for Streaming Media Magazine and the founding executive director of the not-for-profit Help Me Stream. And today, as almost every time we do one of these shows, I've got Chris Knowlton. Now, Chris has been at a number of companies, but I first met him at Microsoft, and Chris is now back at Microsoft. So Chris, what's your title and what's the role at Microsoft?
Yeah, technically my title is Principal PM Manager, which just means I manage other program managers.
All right.
And working on a product called Microsoft Stream.
Interesting name. What is Stream?
It's so self-explanatory, isn't
right.
it? Well, the way I think of it, there's a good story that ties in with streaming media. My first panel at Streaming Media was in 2007, and it was called YouTube for the Enterprise. And Microsoft Stream is YouTube for the Enterprise.
Okay.
And it's it's a simple way to share content within the firewall securely based on you being somebody who signs in to get to your content or your applications like Office 365 applications. If you have an Office 365 account with a college or your business, then chances are you already have a Microsoft Stream account and could do live and on-demand streaming today.
Interesting. So it uses basic things like LDAP authentication or Active Directory.
Yep, Azure Active Directory.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
And is it Azure based?
It is, yeah. Everything we do is Azure based. A few years ago, something came out called Azure Media Services.
Right, I remember that.
Based off some early things we had done with other companies like NBC for the Olympics. With that, a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, they tried to do sort of an experimental project to see if enterprises were now to the point where they would trust cloud computing enough to do their video on the cloud, because there was this great infrastructure that was just looking for customers. Could enterprise make use of it? And it worked so well that they quickly productized it and turned it into Microsoft Stream instead of this experimental Azure Media Services project.
It's interesting though, you described it as behind the firewall, but obviously as a cloud-based solution.
Yeah, exactly.
It's essentially behind the firewall logically, but not physically.
Yeah, and maybe I should be clear. Basically, secure content, right?
Secure content.
Stuff that you don't want to necessarily share outside of your corporate boundaries, your virtual corporate boundaries.
So, which brings up an interesting question. I mean, there has traditionally been in enterprise that hesitancy to move beyond on-prem. And you're saying that 2.5 years ago, as they looked at this, they got enough positive feedback that they decided to productize it?
That's correct, yep.
And has that trend sort of continued where they trust the security level of a cloud-based solution?
Yeah, they do. And a lot of companies today are starting to, just as they use, in some cases, Google Suite, G Suite, or they use now Microsoft Office 365 online. And as folks get more and more comfortable with putting their documents online and loving the ease of use of the collaboration when you have something in the cloud like that, without having to set up racks of servers and hire a bunch of people to maintain everything and do updates and all of that, just having it all done for you at a flat per user fee is very attractive. And the same applies to video, especially if that video is now integrated into all those other Office applications. So you want to drop a video in Word or in PowerPoint or in OneNote or where have you, that's just all part of it, and it's seamless. So now you don't have to worry about third-party integrations, you don't have to worry about external servers and internal servers. It's just one sort of clean package.
What about mobile users? Because obviously you've got Office 365 on iPads, iOS devices, some Android, if I remember correctly.
Correct. Yep.
Does the Microsoft Stream part of that carry over into mobile as well?
It does. Yeah. We have iOS and Android apps for Microsoft Stream, and you can take a Microsoft Stream link, like if you go in. You're watching a video where it's live or on demand, and there's a share link, and you can grab the link, and you could drop that into Yammer or Teams or any of the other Office 365 apps, and it will unfurl that player for you, take the URL and go, oh, here's your content, start playing it back.
Nice. So I guess the other question along those lines would be how discoverable is the content? Because, one of the things that I found, and I'm going back probably 17, 18 years doing work with enterprise, they had a limited amount of video content, so you found everything by title searches. But now there's so much content, and one of the YouTube for the enterprise problems was discoverability, searchability. How have we progressed on that, or have we progressed?
Yeah, that is a really fair question. One of the things that we found back when I was working on Windows Media was that rather than corporations rolling out content across a company, they would typically be silo-based, right? Marketing would have their content, engineering would have theirs, HR would, and legal would definitely have their own stuff. Their own server, their own setup, thou shalt not find it unless you're part of the team and you know where the server is.
Okay.
With Microsoft Stream, though, it's just all incorporated where you have an enterprise-wide search. You could have a search box on, many companies have a portal, a web portal.
Sure.
Go to the web portal, they search for something. Well, now that search will include video results.
Got it.
And unlike just in the past where it might be a video title and maybe something from the description, all of the information in Stream, when you upload or stream using Stream, all that content gets automatically speech to text converted. So now you have a full transcript, full closed captioning, and it's completely searchable by the search engine that you're using.
And when you find the word or phrase, it jumps you to that part of the video?
That's exactly right. Yep. So you can see it in the transcript. If you have the transcript turned on to the right of the video, you can see it in the closed captioning, but it allows you to go exactly, you see all the places where that word was mentioned, and then you can pick the one that you want and go right to it.
And okay, that's great for on-demand content because it obviously takes quite a bit of processing to go through and do that analysis. What about live content?
So with live content, it is, you can find, if you're asking about search specifically, you can find, obviously until the words are spoken, it's hard to search on them.
No.
So, but you can definitely...
Minority Report forecasting.
You can definitely go, so Stream, you can go and set up events ahead of time, including metadata, keywords, all that. So you can certainly search ahead of time, like if you know Satya's going to do a Q&A and Tim Siglin's going to be part of the Q&A, you can search on Satya and Siglin, and it will show you, here's the lobby page for that event that's going to start in 30 minutes.
Okay. And then how long after the live event is done would the, say, full text transcript be available or closed caption?
Yeah, so the most of this happens when you're doing the transcoding, and the on-demand content becomes available right after the live.
Okay.
So it's available just within minutes of the live event ending. So
including the speech-to-text conversion.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. And that obviously harnesses the power, as you say, of a cloud solution that you can throw a lot of processing at.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Anything else to talk about from the Stream standpoint?
I think one of the interesting things that is probably underutilized, but is interesting from a sort of a wow factor, is that the other thing that we do when we're doing that processing is we also search for faces in the video, and we provide a timeline underneath the player showing the faces of all the folks who spoke.
Okay.
And so if you know that Satya and Tim Siglin had this one point where they had a conversation, 30 minutes into the 60-minute Q&A, you can search on the visual timeline for where both of their faces essentially appear on the timeline at the same time, and you can go right to that spot.
Interesting. Okay. Wow, that's actually pretty clever. So, glad you're back, and glad you're working on that. That sounds very intriguing. Beyond people who have an Office 365 subscription, is there a way to use that service standalone, or is it only?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we have been offering standalone plans for folks who want to have that for like a smaller organization where they don't do Office 365 perhaps, but they just want to buy Stream for their organization, and they can do that again on a per seat basis. Okay. But yeah, so we can, and we recognize that there are some companies that may already have a solution or enough on-site, on-prem licenses for software, that they don't necessarily need to buy Office 365.
And does the storage of the video count against the storage that people have as part of their Office 365?
That's a great question. No, we offer 500 gigabytes of storage for every corporation as a starting place, and then 5 gigs for each user. Oh wow. So if you have, thousands of users or whatever, that all gets pooled together.
And that's included in that flat per user price.
Correct.
That storage. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
So the storage is included.
Nice. Chris, as always, very good to have you, and
good to be here.
We'll either be right back or we'll be done for the day.